everybody. Well, I'm going to start it's not really a series. I'm just going to be throwing in every once in a while. I don't know, I may get on a string where I do several of them. I want to talk to you about some old topics that I've talked about before. But it seems like from looking at posts on the general group pages, the Facebook groups, and things like that, I guess there's just been a whole lot of people get involved in wet shaving that really haven't seen my earlier videos. Don't go dig back into them over several years. So I've had some questions about what's my favorite SE razor. I don't really know if I have a favorite, but I'm going to shave with one today, and one of them that I searched out is this Schick 500, and it's a fairly uncommon razor. But one of the benefits of this one is you got a little flip gadget here that allows you to get in and clean the blade a whole lot better. And I liked it. Now, one of the benefits of an SE razor like this, or one like this, I don't have any of the I's or the H's, the Schick's one. This is a Schick adjustable, and of course I've lost the adjustable numbers on it. But it adjusts the blade gap, makes it more aggressive or milder. This is the closest you can get to a cartridge feel as far as the weight and the head size and the maneuverability and the angle than any of the other traditional type shaving implements. So, making a transition to a single edge razor like this is a lot easier for people that have been using cartridge razors. I don't know if I got it here handy. Maybe I don't. I was going to pull out my track too and show you it. That was the razor I used for many, many, many years. But of course, dermatologists recommend using no more than 2 blades, no more than a double edge cartridge or a single edge cartridge. Otherwise, you got more chances of getting razor burn, of getting razor bumps, ingrown hairs, all those things. So, one of the disadvantages of SE razors is that there aren't nearly as many blade choices. Kind of the standard is Schick, and you need to get the ones that have this bar on it because that's how you can load them. Now, of course, you've got one like this that you can open up. You might be able to load it without having a bar, but that's few and far between. I have some vintage Persona 74s, and then there are some other Personas. I took and I painstakingly inserted some Persona hair cutter blades, which they come in a cartridge like this, but they don't have the bar. So I put some in this, and then a lot of people that really shave a lot with single edge razors like the Ted Pella blades. And I don't think I've ever used them, but here I'm going to put one of these Schick blades in, and basically you just have to insert it And what that does is it pops up and raises up, and then you get it started, and as you get it started, it pushes the blade through. Make sure you don't step on that. And then you just pull it out. And that's all there is to loading it. So, I'm going to get this blade before I forget about it. And of course, dispose of your blades in a proper can of some sort, so nobody gets cut in the trash. Alright, I'm going to put some water on my face. Let that soak a little bit. But there's all kinds of different vintage SE razors. This is probably one of the more common ones. This is a gem. And it opens up like that. You put the SE blade, which is blade like this. Bought these in bulk. Didn't come in one of those little cans. But that's the blade. And you need, when you get these blades, you have to be real careful and only get those that are meant for shaving. If you get a paint scraper blade that you buy at the hardware store or someplace like that, you're going to regret it. It's going to be very, very rough, and it's going to hurt you. But the gem was early 1900s. This is Ever Ready. I think this is the 1912. There's several different variations. But this one you lift up that way, put your blade in. It's an Ever Ready. This is another Ever Ready where you pop it up like that. I think this is a 1924. And then later on there was the Gem Macromatics. This is the open comb, and this is the Beast. This is what I was using. I got all of the scrapes with. Here's another gem that I kind of rigged up a different handle. And you can put different handles on these, but it's a little bit more difficult. You got to get the right size of threading. It's different than on a DE. Here's another Ever Ready. And then here is another gem, and this is the ones in brass. They're just called the Gem Junior. But there's really not there's not any difference between a gem and a Gem Junior. It's brass. And then of course you can get into the modern SEs that use the bigger format feather blade. And this is a Mongoose, batch 1 Mongoose that I've got another handle on. So that's that. I'm going to shave with this chick with the new blade in it. Another topic I wanted to kind of touch on, and I'll expand on it a little more as we go along, is that we've got a lot of products. And one of the things I've noticed as I've gone through a lot of my products, there are some products that over time kind of lose their potency of aroma. Okay, and some of them kind of lose their potency of their efficiency of lathering. Most of them retain the lathering capabilities that they had when they were full potent and very aromatic, but some aren't. So what do? You keep on using them just like it was a non-scented soap? Yeah, you can. Then there's the other issue. Arko. Arko is probably one of the best shave soaps. Here, I didn't pull one out. I don't think I've got. Maybe I do. I'm going to have to do some digging. Just a minute. I'm going to stop it. Okay, I'm back. I had to really dig. It was way, way back in the back of my sink, underneath my sink. But I bought these a long time ago, many years ago, the Arko Stick. And I've given a lot of them away. It's got a distinct smell that some people love. Well, maybe not love. A lot of people hate. A lot of people call it the urinal cake, because it's got that lemony, pungent, almost sort of antiseptic type of smell, which dies down after a while. And I've had my Arko in this cup for quite a while. Got some water on it, been soaking. But one of the things that you can do to just about any soap is you can add some scent to it. One way to do that is to just simply put a few drops of an essential oil in on top of your soap. Do that. I'm going to do it, and that'll mask the scent. If you got a scent that you don't particularly like, you can maybe mask it or change it. I'm just going to put a few drops, maybe half a dozen drops, and this is fir needle. Okay. Now, what else can you do? You can also add menthol, and this is menthol glycerin, and I've got a video on how you make it, but it's a real simple process. You just take some menthol crystals. I think I got some here. Yeah. You just take some menthol crystals and put it in just a little bit of alcohol. I usually used Everclear. Dissolve these crystals. You want to crush them up first. I just put them in a plastic bag, crush them up, and you just put some crystals in it, crush them up, dissolve it in the alcohol. It will dissolve in alcohol. It's not going to dissolve in water very well. It's not going to dissolve in other types of lotions or even witch hazel. But put it in there, shake it up, dissolve it. It gets dispersed. You can always add some glycerin menthol. I got me a little boar brush here, vintage. Just work your soap. That's what we used to call making a super lather. Let me get a thing here. When you do this, you are probably going to have to work it a little bit more. Get some of the lather. I'm putting it in a bowl here. I could have started it first and put it in the bowl, but get a good load on your brush. When you alter a soap or something, a poor performing soap can be boosted by putting glycerin in it. A well performing soap, by putting some of the essential oils in it, that can knock it down a little bit, knock down its lathering capabilities. A soap like Arko, it will knock it down a little bit. It just means that you're going to have to probably bowl lather, work it in the bowl a little bit. But it doesn't take much. It just needs a little bit more exercise to get what you want. Of course, you can't combine all of the different things you want to do so much face lathering. You could potentially put some menthol glycerin on your brush and then load your soap, or you could load your soap and then put some on. But then when you do that, you run the risk of getting some high concentration of some potent menthol, which, if you like menthol, that may not be such a bad thing. But This is working up pretty good. But Arko it's a good soap. It's a inexpensive soap. You can get one of those. You can get a couple of sticks of Arko soap. It's good for travel. You can just rub it on your face. Get your face wet and rub it. But I don't have the Arko smell now. I smell the pine, the fir pine. And I feel the menthol. You can do the same thing with the glycerin by boosting up. I think there's some stuff called 444, which is basically some glycerin that's got some menthol chopped in it. You can do the same thing with just your own glycerin, dissolving your own menthol crystals. And you can boost any aftershave, any lotion you want. As far as it goes, the things I do with my corn huskers, you can do with just about any type of lotion. You can do it with, Gillette. Or you could do it with Nivea. And as far as that goes, as far as a post-balm or pre-balm, you could do it to just about any lotion you wanted to. Any hand cream. Just because it says hand doesn't mean you can't use it to moisturize your face, to protect your face. Single edge razors are very easy to maneuver. At least this style is very easy to move and maneuver. And that's kind of one of the benefits of cartridge razors, is that they are easy to maneuver. Of course, cartridges, they're on that swivel head. These aren't swivel headed. Now, the benefit of single edge, your blade is stiff and it's much thicker than a standard DE blade. What's that do for you? Well, you guys that have heavy beards, very thick beards, very tough beards, that SE thick blade, and of course these type of blades, they're not quite as thick as the injector type, but they're still plenty thick. And what's that do? It enables you to get a better cut on those thick, heavy beard follicles, whereas with a DE, there may be more flex, there may be more blade shimmy, there may be more of an opportunity to not be quite as efficient. One of the disadvantages of an SE razor, you gotta rinse them off a lot more frequently. Just as comfortable a shave, but it's different. It's hard to explain what the difference is, other than particularly when you get into, razors like this, the angle is different. This angle is somewhat different. You have to get more parallel to the beard, to the face. Not quite as much of an angle. It's a smaller angle. Of course, I don't really mention a whole lot now, but I don't go through and describe all of the details of what I'm doing on my shave. I might occasionally. But as long as I've been wet shaving, and as much practice as I've had switching from one razor to the next, I don't have to think about it. And I don't have to I can very quickly adapt and adjust to the feel. And in time, if you're a beginner, you'll be able to do that too. You're going to be able to do a lot of things once you've gotten that muscle memory honed in of how to respond to how that blade encounters your face. Now, if you see the Arko soap, just because I've added some stuff to it, didn't cause it to break down. It's still lush and creamy. So, if you haven't tried any Arko, give it a shot. It's always good to have some around, just in case you want to throw it in your dot bag and take off. Back when we started in the big shave and there wasn't many products around, Arko was one of those products that was a mainstay for a lot of people. It was something that they could buy a bunch of it. I think, I don't know what this had in it, a dozen or 3, 6, yeah, it had a dozen in a box, and I think this box was less than $20, I'm pretty sure. But try some of these old products. Go back and experience, if you're new to the hobby, some of the things that we did as the hobby started taking off. Half a dozen years ago, 5 years ago. But yeah, if any of you guys have been trying de-heat shaving and you got the heavy beard, be thinking about getting you maybe an injector or one of the more modern SEs. I saw somewhere, and I can't remember where it was, that Schick had begun selling their standard injector, which is real similar to this adjustable. It just wasn't adjustable, but very, very similar to this one. And it, wasn't that less than, I think it was maybe $12-15, something like that. And don't know what kind of quality it is, but if it's based off the old Schick design, it ought to be pretty good. I think probably they did that just to maybe try to boost their injector blade sales. Good marketing. But yeah, use variety in your products. Add glycerin. Add menthol. You can, using menthol glycerin, you can put a menthol boost in just about everything. I make my glycerin very, very strong. Now, this reaches a saturation point where you put too much, and I think actually mine, when it sets, it breaks down a little bit and clumps, so I gotta shake it. But this is the stuff I made when I did the video, and the video's at least 2, 3, maybe 4 years old. I can't remember when I made it, but this is the stuff I made in the video, and it's still good, still works, still no problems whenever I want to boost my glycerin with menthol. Like I say, you can put it on any soap. It will change the characteristics of the soaps. You got to experiment around a little bit. You can use it with creams, and have fun with it. Work your mind and work your experimentation. Come up with your own concoctions. A lot of guys have asked me about the aftershaves that I made. I never really had a whole lot of luck making aftershaves. Basically, just what I do is I just doctor up some basic witch hazel, and for the most part, I add witch hazel with some Osage rub. I think I got some here somewhere. Yeah, Osage rub to give the witch hazel a little bit of a menthol kick. But other than that, like I say, any cream that you can add some essential oils to. Doesn't have to be corn huskers. If your mind can think of it, you ought to be able to make it. If you've got some old soaps that have lost their punch as far as their aroma, grate them. Use a cheese grater and grate them. Put some essential oils. You probably have to use quite a bit, maybe 25, 30, 40 drops, sometimes maybe 50. Put some essential oils with them and add a little bit of hot water, maybe 2, 3, 4 tablespoons at the most. You just mix it up, make a crope. Make a soft soap out of a hard soap. And if you've got a soft soap, I've got some soft soaps that have kind of dried out. I'm going to be messing around with a little bit and seeing what I've done. Because a lot of the stuff I've got's been around for quite a few years, and if it's not sealed up, it's gonna dry out some. So work with what you got. Of course, I could just throw it away, put it in the bin, say you're done with it. Which there may be some things I do like that. That there may be some things I just can't bring back to life. But you bought it, use it. Salvage it if you can. If it's dried out. I had one soap that I had not put the lid back on tight enough, and it was a soft soap, and it dried out pretty quick. So I had to rehydrate it. Just basically put some more water in it and mix it up. So that's what I wanted to talk about this time. I kind of threw a whole bunch of stuff together, but over time I'll talk about more, and my flow of thought videos, unscripted. It's all off the top of my head. I don't even think or write down or write notes most of the time. It's just whatever comes to my head at the moment. This next week, next Friday, go back to court. Ask for some prayers and support that day. The video cut out. actually go back to court on Friday, have an idea about what's going to happen, but don't really know for sure. Uh, uh, a lot of flooding going on around. We had some flooding here, but wasn't too bad. But back in my home country in southern Illinois, it's getting pretty bad. It's going to be bad this weekend. They're talking about it may even be as bad as a massive flood they had in 1937. Uh, Thoughts and prayers to them. And there's a lot of other places out here, like up in Canada. There's flooding up in Canada, and interesting weather we're having this spring. Kind of seems like the rain has come on all of a sudden, and we didn't have at least in this part of the country, out here out west, we didn't have a whole lot of snow. There was a lot more up northeast in the north, but we haven't had a big snow here in Oklahoma in many years. Was talking to my boss today, and we were reminiscing about the snowstorm, and I think it was 1980, 86 or 87, early 87, I believe it was. I lived in Lindsay, Oklahoma at that time, and I had 32 inches of snow in my front yard, which is very unusual. And Lindsay is about 60 miles south of Oklahoma City. So until next time, have some good shaves. Work hard at being happy, but definitely be safe. We'll talk with you later. Bye-bye.